Joel Embiid is looking at around the league. He's saying, man, Nikola Jokic was the MVP twice. I beat him out this year for the MVP. And they built a title contender around him in Denver, of all places. Denver. I watched Giannis leapfrog right past me in the East. They built a title contender. Giannis now has a ring. I can't get to the gosh darn conference finals. Guys, what are we doing here? If I'm Joel Embiid, I am dead serious. Guys, we've had a good run. I've seen what happens when Harden demands a trade. I think I'm ready to go. And I would totally, 100% be behind Joel Embiid if he went to Philly and said, you know what, you're not going to get a star for James Harden, okay? I've seen some of these deals. I've seen the poo-poo platter that the Clippers are offering. Yeah, I like Norm Powell as much as the next guy. Norm Powell ain't changing the Sixers game. I see this Tobias Harris situation where he's promoting Crumble Cookie in terms of his trade value. I've seen all these three-team deals. Oh, we could get Dame Lillard. We could bring in Dame to join forces with Joel Embiid. Yeah, it's going to be a three-team deal that ends up costing you Tyrese Maxey. So now you're going to lose Maxey and Harden? Nothing makes sense in the Joel Embiid world. And there's all these Sixers fanboys out there sending me messages over the weekend. Hey, Jay, Harden could stay. He could just return to the Sixers. Oh, really? And run it back? Because that worked out so well in the postseason. Everybody remembers that. Harden, 2 awesome games against the Celtics. Dynamic in the fourth quarter. Hit game-winning threes he did in 2 of those games in the final minute. They had Boston on the ropes, and then what happened? What normally happens to James Harden teams in the playoffs is they choked. Choke City in Game 6, up in the fourth quarter. Gag. What happened in Game 7? They get beat by 70 or 60, whatever it was, in Boston. Just another disaster in the postseason. And if I'm Joel Embiid, I'm looking at one team out there that makes a whole lot of sense. I know a lot of Lakers fans are dreaming of Joel Embiid. Hey, we would take Embiid for Anthony Davis in a heartbeat. Lakers fans, settle down. There's one team that makes all the sense in the world for Joel Embiid to land with. His former agent is a guy by the name of Leon Rose. He's now running the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have a war chest of draft picks stockpiled where they can give the 76ers, hey, you guys want to restart the process? Why don't you ship Harden to the Clippers, get whoever you want, and then why don't you send us, Joel Embiid, right up the I-95 corridor to New York City. Now, a lot of people will take this as, hey, Jay, you're a Knicks fan. The Sixers are never doing the deal. Let's remember, look at the history of Sixers GM Daryl Morey. He likes stars in Houston. T-Mac, Tracy McGrady, and Yao Ming. Then it was James Harden and Dwight Howard. Then it was James Harden and Chris Paul. Morey goes to Philly. What's he try? Ben Simmons plus Joel Embiid. Then it's let's try Harden and Embiid. And he keeps swinging at 2 stars. It doesn't look like he's getting a second star. It feels to me like the Sixers are ready to reboot, ship Harden, ship Embiid, and start the process all over again. Just what 76ers fans want on this July 4th week. Another NBA story that's kind of popped up is the trade. Are we calling it a request or a demand? Trade me. That sounds like a demand. Is Dame Lillard out of Portland? Rick Bucher came on this show last week and called it a game of chicken in Portland, and Dame Lillard blinked, although I would agree that he probably blinked a year or 2 late. Listen, regular people who watch his show, who followed my career, I've been here at Fox for 7 years now, I've always been a fan of the little guy, the underdog. I consider myself a bit of an underdog. Besides like trying to flex my, budding men's league basketball dynasty out here in LA and shoving the Jets down your throat. I'm a champion for the underdog. At my core, that's who I am. I always will root for the player against the owner. I know that's kind of a silly underdog. Damian Lillard, guy net worth of $100 million or whatever it is. But I'm rooting for Damian Lillard against ownership. And I have defended player movement, player empowerment. LeBron, I said, why would he stay in Cleveland the first time around? He asked him to build a title contender. Boston's loading up. Orlando's loading up. I mean, yeah, they built around Dwight Howard in Orlando, got to the finals against the Lakers. And LeBron's watching like Antoine Jameson come to his rescue and 34-year-old Shaq. Like, they didn't do anything. So LeBron left. I defended him. And maybe the delivery with the TV spectacle, the decision, maybe that wasn't a great decision, but he's like a 26-year-old guy. I defended Kevin Durant and his move from OKC. I took a lot of heat for that, but I defended him. I said, listen, just because he was drafted by Seattle, which turned into OKC, doesn't mean he has to stay there forever. That's not how the world works. Kevin Durant should be able to leave and go wherever the hell he wants and win. And Dame Lillard is in that situation. And folks, he hung around too long. There's no other way around it. Lillard is essentially stuck in Portland now. Yes, that's right. Stuck in Portland because there's no trade for him. He's turning 33 this summer. He's still a very good player. I wouldn't say he's at the height of his powers, although he did just have one of his greatest statistical seasons of his career. But we're talking about a big-time clutch playoff performer. Literally one of the most clutch playoff performers in the history of the NBA. He has had 2 walk-off series wins. Michael Jordan has 1. A lot of other players have 0. Like, Dame Lillard has delivered in the playoffs, and the problem is he was just too loyal to Portland. Loyalty is like an antiquated idea. You know, loyalty is like from the 60s and 70s. It just does not exist anymore. You could extend it to the 80s if you want. But this idea that Dame owes Portland anything is total nonsense. And Portland, for their problem, they held on to him too long. You know, you look at last year, what they could have got for Dame Lillard in the Hall would have been massive. I will point folks to what the Utah Jazz got for Donovan Mitchell, what the Utah Jazz got for Rudy Gobert. Okay? Rudy Gobert's haul, what the Jazz got, all those picks, is going to be bigger than what Portland gets for Damian Lillard. I mean, the trades we're hearing now are like, oh, well, Milwaukee's kind of out. Miami, we got Tyler Hero for you. We got Caleb Martin. We got a couple picks. And according to one report, Portland's like, we don't want Tyler Hero. No disrespect to that young up-and-coming player. We just don't want him. And then you look around, you're like, okay, he goes to Philly, but they'd have to lose Maxey and Harden in a 3-team deal. And one of the funny lines you hear around the NBA is if you have a 3-team deal, you have a no-team deal because they're almost impossible to pull off. So you look at landing spots for Dame and you're like, where's he going? There's a chance that there are no takers for him. Now, we know Daryl Morey in Philly is going to string it out as long as possible, as he's done. But Portland has a young nucleus. They got a bunch of young, good players. And for some reason, they just totally butchered this Damian Lillard saga. So now he goes into the season, half his team's in the summer league playing because they got all these young guys. Portland goes out and extends Jeremy Grant in one of the most mind-boggling extensions you'll see. He got something like $130 million for Jeremy Grant. I mean, some of the NBA numbers this week are staggering. I saw LaMelo Ball is getting like $50 million a year. He's never finished, I don't think, above 500 in his career. Like, these NBA salaries are ridiculous. Anthony Edwards getting $52 million. Can the guy win a playoff series? Like, Dame Lillard's won a ton, and his value is next to nothing. Portland, you waited too long.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.